Okay, so our Shabbat is very, very, very special Shabbat because it's Shabbat that is Erev Pesach. Day before Pesach is Shabbat. Shabbat, Pesach starting at Sunday. It's a rare combinations of days and very specific laws, very strange schedule on Shabbat. Very interesting. I would just say in short why. Usually, Erev Pesach, day before Pesach, it's not a simple day that before the holiday. Why? What is Erev Pesach? What is Pesach? Pesach is a holiday. But Pesach is another thing. There is a sacrifice that it's called Pesach. The sacrifice of Pesach, Korban Pesach. This is the mitzvah of the Torah. From the Torah, there is 3 mitzvot that we're doing in the holiday. Not eating chametz, not to eat Matza, and to eat Pesach, to eat the sacrifice. Every Jew in the 14th of the month of Nisan, taking his sheep or his lamb, and you need to have a group of people in taking every group. Few families were gathering to one group, and they all bought the Pesach and they ate it together. And there is laws, you can eat it. The sacrificing is in the temple in Jerusalem. All the Jewish people are there. All the Kohanim are there because so many sacrifices. And they're sacrificing the Pesach, and after that taking it home and putting it on fire and eating with the Matza, with the maror. And this was the course and the mitzvah of the Leil HaSeder. The main course was the Pesach. So the Pesach basically starts, all the balagan of Pesach start in the 14th of Nisan, meaning in Erev Pesach. Yes? We're eating the Pesach in the nightfall until midnight. That's why also the Matzah that we will eat in Saturday night, we will eat the Matzah until midnight, not after, because it's to remember the sacrifice of Pesach. So in this year is very strange because the Pesach is in Shabbat. The day that we sacrifice in the Pesach is in Shabbat. And it's very interesting. It's a debate in the Talmud. What is the best way to do it? But this is only one part. There is another part. What? In the law of not eating chametz also starts from Erev Pesach, from Shabbat. And not only to not eat chametz, also to destroy the chametz that in your home, you need to do it before Pesach. And how you destroying the chametz in your home, our sages telling us that the best way is to burn it. You're not allowed to burn the chametz in Shabbat. So you're doing it on Friday. But according to the Torah, you're still allowed to eat chametz until Shabbat. After you're burning it on Friday. Okay, so we eat chametz. What we eat? We eat the 2 chalot in Shabbat meal. But here comes another thing. The last Shabbat meal in our synagogue in Tallinn, the Kiddush is in 12:15 start, approximately, in a regular Shabbat. In other houses here in the Ukraine, they start eating the Kiddush on 1 o'clock. Yes? But until when you are allowed to eat chametz? 10 in the morning, 10:30. So how you can eat the chametz in Shabbat? How you can do the Shabbat meal? You have no 2 breads to the Shabbat, 2 challah. And we know that Lena's challah is the best challah. We want to eat the challah of Lena. So that's why it's very strange schedule. We waking up early in the morning, and we're doing the prayer early, and then we finishing the Shabbat meal at 10:30, and from then Pesach starts. So it's very special and rare and interesting, and many laws and details and things to learn. And also the Kiddush is different, because the Kiddush of Leila Seder, it's also Havdalah for Shabbat in the same cup. So it's very, very interesting. There is many things to talk about Pesach. And actually we started this shiur I think around Pesach last year, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Israel in the first quarantine, and we did it online. Avraham Atityahu and Chaim maybe remember more.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, last year. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about, first of all...
Slicha, it was, the last year it was, I think, in April. I remember, I wasn't here, but in April.
What started in
Pesach, the last year.
Yeah. Yes, it was in April.
It was a bit later, yeah, because I
Yes.
celebrated it.
Yes.
Yeah, April something, I don't remember the date, but first week or even later.
Yes.
Much later than.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Just.
Pesach, what are the laws of Pesach? The basic laws that we're keeping today. We're not eating chametz. We're not only not eating chametz, we don't have chametz in our belongings. We have only matzah, and we're eating matzah. And there is one law to eat matzah on the first night of Pesach. This is the law. In the rest of the days of Pesach, you don't have to eat matzah. If you want to do a diet, it's not a problem. But in Leila Seder, you must eat matzah. Second law is to drink 4 cups of wine. To drink 4 cups of wine. And to tell the story of Pesach, of Yetziat Mitzrayim. And this is basically the Haggadah. The Haggadah is the story, and we're learning, yes. And then I have the Haggadah already. It's very good to read before, it's very important. Just to be familiar, not you open first time the Haggadah and Leila Seder, and then, hey, what he's saying here, I don't understand, and then you want to understand, but your kid want to take the Afikoman, and you don't have time for the it's better to read before everything, not only the Haggadah. To prepare. And another mitzvah is the mitzvah of maror. Maror basically is coming, the mitzvah from the Torah is to the maror connected to Pesach. When we have Pesach, we have also maror. So today we're doing the maror not from the Torah, we're doing it from the sages. The sages said that also the 4 cups of wine, it's not mitzvah from the Torah, it's from our sages. It's a mitzvah. So, we will have some questions that will be more, questions is like frame. You have questions and answers, so you can. What's important is in the middle, but questions and answers, it's a good frame for the idea. So there is many questions that we can ask, but let's start with very simple questions. Why are we drinking 4 cups of wine? Why? Because when the story of the redemption, that the Jewish people was going out from Egypt, so I opened even the source in English that I can read it for you. So God talking to Moshe, and in the beginning of the Parashat of Va'era that we learned, Vaydaber Elokim el Moshe, God speaking to Moshe, and he started telling him promising him what he's going to do to the Jewish people. And he telling Moshe, say therefore to the Israelites people, I am Hashem, I will free you from the labors of the Egyptians. So free you, it's the first expression that Hashem, God, using to tell Moshe what he's going to do to the Jewish people. I will free you and deliver you from their bondage. I will redeem you, and then I will take you to be my people. So we have 4 expressions that God telling Moshe, I will free, deliver, redeem, and take. Those are 4 expressions, and therefore we celebrating those expressions by drinking 4 cups of wine. This is the reason why we're drinking 4 cups of wine. Okay? How many matzot we eating on Pesach? 3 matzah, by the way. The minimum, of course, and the mitzvah from the Torah is to eat kazait, and this is approximately half a matzah, shmura matzah. But the custom is to have 3 matzah on the Seder table. Why are we eating matzah? We're eating matzah as remembrance to something that happened when the Jewish people went out of Egypt. What happened? The Jewish people ran out of Egypt. They ran. Therefore, they didn't have time to prepare bread that will rise. Okay. First of all, why they didn't have time? They knew in the night that they will go out tomorrow in the day. They had time. But we will not go into that. They didn't have time. They ran out of Egypt, and therefore they didn't have time to wait to the dough and then to wait for 2 hours that it will rise. No, they just did it quick, all the breads. Okay, that's why they had matzah, and that's why we're eating matzah. But I will ask a different question. Why we need to remember that they ran out of Egypt? First of all, it's a detail. It's not the point. Second of all, what kind of detail this is? It's something strange. Good way to go out from Egypt is not to run, is to go like a king. Why we need to remember that we didn't have time to take out this, prepare the suitcases. This what we want to remember. This is what we want to remember. So those are questions. I will ask more questions, and then how many names do you know about Pesach? There is 3 names. in Jewish, there is maybe four, but there is four. We will learn the three, how you say, the three important ones. There is in the Torah not saying Chag Pesach. The Torah calling this holiday Chag HaMatzot, the holiday of the Matzah. Our sages in the prayers not calling it Chag HaMatzot, not calling it Chag HaPesach. They're calling it Zman Cheruteinu, the time of our freedom. And we calling it Pesach, the Jewish people. So the Rabbi explaining those three names, and by the way, explaining all the process of the Jewish people as a nation. And it's beautiful. We need to understand what is Matzah. Matzah is something very strange. Matzah is lechem oni. What is lechem oni? A bread of poor, of the poor. No taste. Bread, matzah with taste, it's not a kosher matzah. If you did the matzah with juice, it's not kosher. Even though it's matzah, it's not chametz. It's not kosher. Why? Because we buy the matzah, again, we remembering that they went out from Egypt like poor people. They ran out from Egypt. Why we want to celebrate this point that the matzah have no taste and the Jewish people ran out of Egypt like poor people? What is the point behind this? So there is very interesting point that there is a midrash that Jewish people were in the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim, that the time that they ran out of Egypt, they were 99% like the Egyptians. What does that mean? Simply, it means that they become one with the culture, even with the belief in their mindset. They were like the Egyptians. They become one. And even there is midrash that's saying that when God opened the water and the Jewish people going inside, and the plan is that it will be closed on the Egyptians, so the angels came to God and telling God, what is the difference between those two nations? They both worshipping idols. They both, they're telling us, what is what's going on here? But of course, God chose the Jewish people. Doesn't matter what they were. But this is very important point. The Jewish people, in their mindset, in their belief, in their level of connection to God, level of holiness inside them, they were almost in the same level of the Egyptians. And what happened? God came himself and took them outside Egypt. They escaped Egypt. There is a story that I told it to you, that there was a person that he were an Orthodox Jew. He was a Hasid in America somewhere, and he went to hospital for a few months. He were in hospitalized. I don't remember. I don't know why. And he was married. He had a family, and he became close with one of the nurses. And she, of course, was not Jew. And they decided to run together, to leave everything. He and the nurse. He became in a terrible situation. I don't know the details. This is what I know. And he had some connection with the secretary of the Rebbe. It was not in New York, and it was not close to New York. It was in the United States. And he and her decided on a date that they will run out. On Sunday, that they will run from the hospital and leave the family of his and just go away. And they decided that on Sunday he will do it. And Friday, before Shabbat, he's getting a phone call from the secretary of the Rebbe. What does that mean, he's getting a phone call? They're calling him from in the center of the nurses that there is in every floor in the hospital. There is a call from you. Who is that? Is the secretary of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. It was not Chabad. And he telling him, the Rebbe told me to call you to tell you that you need to leave the hospital now before Shabbat. And he telling, I'm not leaving the hospital. I'm here. No, you must run from the hospital. And he said, no. And he starts yelling. The Rebbe said it's urgent. You need to run from the hospital. Go home. Run. And he starts stressing him, yelling at him. And he knew who is the Rebbe. He knew that the Rebbe is a big person. And he came back home and he said, the Rebbe saved me and my family. And this is, I just saying it because this is like analogy. He, in his mind and his heart, he planned to do something. To go on Sunday, I'm going with her. But because he got terrorized, stressed, yelling, so he did the right thing. And this is what the Jewish people experienced in Yetziat Mitzrayim. They were Egyptians. They saw themselves, what you are, I'm a slave. Of who? Of this guy, of this Egyptian. I'm like him. And God, that's why God himself did it. Because to take someone from the deepest level of his, you need to have a lot of powers. It's not something simple. Just to take him out. And this is Pesach. Pesach, this is Matzah. What is Matzah? Matzah, it's the bread of the poor. Matzah is food without any taste, without any understanding. Matzah means nothing. And that was the level of the Jewish people then. And they like, where we are? We're out of Egypt? Why? Remind me, why we're out of Egypt? Because God took us out. They were not there. God just... There is a verse in Shir HaShirim, Songs of the Songs. It's Shir HaShirim. It's a book of Shlomo. Many communities saying it every Shabbat. And many communities actually reading it after the Seder. There is a verse there, Moshcheni acharecha narutza, Eviyani amelech hadarav. What does that mean? You will pull me, and after that we will run after you. So the explanation of that verse is that there is few levels. First of all, God pulling us out. We want to stay. We want to stay. but God pulling us out, what we can do. It was a strong revelation of God. Jewish people saw God, they didn't have a choice. They ran out of Egypt. This is Matzah. So if we will say it in a different words, who was the active side in Yetziat Mitzrayim when the Jewish people was going out from Egypt? Who was the active? God was there. Who did it? God. It was not both-sided. Not the Jewish people was not involved in the running out from Egypt. After going out from Egypt, after God taking them out, Jewish people now know the plan. What is the plan? The plan is that after going out of Egypt, we will get the Torah. They will get the Torah. The Torah is something that we cannot just get it. We need to be there. We need to be involved also with getting the Torah. It's two sides, not only God's side. So Jewish people start preparing themselves to getting the Torah spiritually. Start learning, start be close to Yiddishkeit, start to be free person. You need to be free person. You cannot be slave anymore. You need to change your mentality. And this is Sfirat HaOmer, of course. After, in the first night of Pesach, we start counting the Omer. Until when? Until Shavuot, until getting the Torah. Why? Every day Jewish people counted the days. We want to be closer to getting the Torah. And in Sfirat HaOmer, every day it's a different level in the soul that they worked on, as we're saying after the prayer of Sfirat HaOmer. We're mentioning every day a different energy, Chesed shebechesed, Gvura shebechesed, Tiferet, Netzach. And what does that mean? It means that Jewish people start being involved in that relationship that they have with God. Until then, Pesach it means that God is the only partner, is the only active partner there. He took them out. Now, before the marriage, Shavuot is the marriage. So Jewish people start working themselves, and this is Sfirat HaOmer. This is the second side, the side of the Jewish people. This is 4 cups of wine. 4 cups of wine, we're celebrating on freedom. It's not eating the poor bread, it's celebrating the freedom. Free wine is a drink of free person that have a great mood in drinking wine. Wine is a drink with a lot of taste. Like a person that understands. Matzah means no understanding. Taste is understanding. And this is wine. Why? Because we got involved. We start to understand what's going on. We start feeling free. And this is why the Matzah is a law from the Torah. This is what God told us to do, and this is what we're doing. Why? It's representing the side of God in Pesach. And the wine is not law from the Torah. This is law from our sages, because it's from the Jewish people. It's Torah shebe'al peh. It's the side of the Jewish people in their relationship between Jews and God. And this is why, by the way, I'll just mention, Matzah is 3, and 4 cups of wine, it's 4. Why? Because we said it's the 4 expressions, 4 words that God telling Moshe. What were the 4 words? Let's see the words. I will free. This is the first word. I will deliver and redeem. This is the three first words. And the fourth one is I will take you. So there is a difference. I will take you to be my people. The first three words talking about going out of Egypt. Free you from the Egyptian, redeem you from the slavery, and talking about going out of Egypt. The fourth word is, I will take you to be my nation. Meaning, we forgot about the Egyptians. Now, it's a different level. It's the level that the Jewish people become connected to God. And this is the difference between Matzah and the wine. Okay, we got the picture? Yeah? Now, let's say a different idea that it's connected that will help us to understand more. This is about the three names of Pesach. The first name from the Torah is Chag HaMatzot, is about the Matzah. As we said, what is Matzah? Matzah is representing bitul, like Avraham Atityahu knows, of course, what is bitul. Bitul means feeling of emptiness. Or why? Because this is what the Jewish people were in the time of going out of Egypt. They were like, what's going on here? Because they were not there. They didn't feel the godliness, the revelation. They were not there. They were just going after God. God pulled them out of Egypt. Zman Cheruteinu, the name of the sages. The name of that, what is Zman Cheruteinu? Who knows? The time of our freedom. This is the name that the sages gave to this holiday. In the prayer, we're not saying Chag HaPesach, we're not saying Chag HaMatzot, we're saying Zman Cheruteinu, time of our freedom. Of course, it's totally something else from the holiday of the Matzah. Holiday of the Matzah that the Torah calling the holiday means holiday of the bitul, of the nothingness, of the feeling of emptiness. Feeling that we only receiving from God. Because in Pesach, in the beginning, at the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim, we were only receiving. Our sages gave another name, time of our freedom. Why? Because eventually we understand that we become a free people. Our mindset was changed. We added to the Torah 4 cups of wine, for example. We become partners. And there is the third name, Pesach. What is the third name? So here we need to take it a little bit more wide. Those 3 stages of Matzah, freedom, and Pesach. And the Rabbi explaining it, of course everything is from the Rabbi, that by the way today was the Rabbi's birthday. The Rabbi became 119. Beginning is 120 years. Yeah, and if we're looking in a little bit, let's say the analogy. When a student learning something from his master, we're not talking about some person explaining to the other one something that he doesn't know. This is not real student and real master. We're talking about real master that every lecture that he's saying new ideas that the world never heard. and student that is fully there to receive and really understand what the master giving, because he understand that is something that the world was never. There is 3 stages in the students receiving. The first stage is that the students need to sit there and not think of nothing else. I'm here, I'm fully here to receive, to understand what I'm learning, what I'm hearing. There is a story about the previous Rabbi. The previous Rabbi was the son of his father was the Rabbi before him. He was the only son of the 5th Rabbi. Previous Rabbi was the 6th Rabbi. And the way that the 5th Rabbi was teaching Torah was that he was sitting with his Hasidim and he was saying Ma'amar, that's how it's called, the new Torah speech that he was saying. It's called in Hebrew Ma'amar. And he was sitting and speaking to all Hasidim, but one person was sitting in front of him, and the Rabbi was looking on him, and he was looking on the Rabbi. That was the way that it worked. Our Rabbi was not didn't do it like that. He didn't look on anyone, but that's how it was. The 5th Rabbi had one person that he did it with. Who was that person? His son. His son, the Rabbi after him, was sitting and looking on him, and he looked at him. One time, there is a story that his son, the previous Rabbi, was not there. He left. He did a lot of things, a lot of important things. And he was not there when his father was going to say the Ma'amar. So the 5th Rabbi called one of the big Hasidim, one of the big, important, and intelligent Hasidim, and he told them, I want you to sit in front of me when I'm saying the Ma'amar, not that my son is not here, but there is one condition. You're not allowed to think of nothing else. Are you able to do it? He said yes. We know the Ma'amar was not 5 minutes, and it can be 45 minutes, it can be 1.5 hours. And that's how it was. And he was sitting before the Rabbi, and the Rabbi started saying the Ma'amar, and he looked on the Rabbi looked on him. When they finished the Ma'amar, when the Rabbi finished the Ma'amar, the Hasid felt that he did it very good. He said, I didn't think of nothing else. But the Rabbi called him and told him, thank you very much, next time it will not be you. So this Hasid, he was very, very intelligent and a very truthful person. And he said to the Hasidim, one time in the Ma'amar I thought about one thing, that it's not the Ma'amar itself. What I thought about, that this Ma'amar is similar or based on Ma'amar that his father said. That's the only thing that not connected to the Ma'amar that he thought. What we seeing here? What was the problem that he thought like that? It's not a problem. But there is 2 things. There is stage to understand what you're learning. There is something deeper and something previous to the understanding, to receive. Just to be a vessel to receive the idea, the new idea. There is something new here in the world, and you just a vessel. Now you receive. After you received everything, you need to understand, of course. If you don't understand, it's not learning. Okay? And this is the first level. The first level is to receive. When a student, real student, learning from a real master. And second, in the first level, you are nothing, just receiving. I can be a wall. I mean, I don't need to be a person. But after a person received, you need to understand. If he doesn't understand, it's nothing. It's not learning. After he understands, and he starts feeling it, he starts living with it. It's not just idea. It's idea that becoming part of his life. And this is similar, to what we learn about Matzah and the wine. Jewish people had very big revelation of God. He took them out of Egypt. They saw the 10 plagues. They saw the splitting of the sea. But they were like nothing. They felt nothing. They just received and saw the amazing revelation of God. Very good. After that became a level of living like that. Start understanding what you saw. Start understanding what is God. What does that mean that God revealing himself in the world? What does that mean about believing God? What is meaning about your life? Their life of them start changing. They start living what they saw. They were not only vessel. They become free people. The freedom, the holiday of freedom. This is the second name. The first name was Chag Matzah, Chag Matzot. The second name is Chag Zman Cherutein. But after that, there is a third level. The student eventually, after receiving properly, and after understanding properly, and living his life, the third level is that the student become like the master. If the student stays student, it's good. But the goal is that after the student received properly with not any distractions, he received what he were getting from the master, and after that he become one. It become part of his life. After that, after many years and many learning, you become a master for yourself. This is the process. If you're staying a student, something there was not right. I mean, in the end, you becoming like the master, and you will say new things that every idea that you're saying is new and amazing and will change the world. This is a real student. This is the third level. The third level is the jump that the student have from a receiver, to a giver, to become a master yourself. And this is the third level of the Jewish people. The Jewish people were not only receiving when they going out from Egypt, they were not only leaving it, they become partners of God. They become themselves. Every Jew have in himself the power of God himself. It's not only that we have powers to get the ideas of Torah and to live by them and to feel them and to understand them. We have also the power to take the jump of Pesach. Pesach is from the word jump. Because we have the power also to do this jump, to feel, not to feel, to be one. We becoming one with God. Every Jew have endless powers. Why? Because he is the son of God and he's the partner of God in creation. God created and we working. and we have the powers, and becoming one with God, and we have the powers to do anything. And this is the meaning of the third name of Pesach. Pesach is to jump. Let's summarize what's going on. Pesach have three names. Matzah. What is Matzah? Matzah is bitul. What is bitul? Bitul is not to feeling nothing like because I am nothing. No. Bitul means that you understand that there is something big. And I am here to receive what this something big can give me. I am also very important. But this thing is very, very important. And I am total nothing compared to this big thing. And I'm getting from that. This is matzah. No taste. A bread of the poor. And this is the first stage of the Jewish people. The first stage of the Jewish people is to receive what God gave them. And this what the Jewish people were in the time of going out of Egypt. God did a miracle and they just observe. Then the process is that you cannot only receive, you need to start being involved, you need to understand, you need to be part of it, you need to live by it. This is what happened when the Jewish people start in Sfirat HaOmer working on themselves and becoming one with the things that they learned. They start feeling Jews. They start feeling part of it. This is the second stage, and this is Zman Cherutenu. This is why God not calling it Zman Cherutenu. God calling it Matzot, because He did the part, and the Jewish people were empty. The second part of to feeling Jewish that God didn't do. This is what the Jewish people did. Start feeling Jewish, start working about themselves, like the student. Start living by the idea, start understanding the ideas that he's learning from the master. The third stage is not only to stay student, to become partner, to become master for himself, to reveal the powers of God that you have inside you. This is the name of Pesach. The Jewish people it's not enough for them to say the name of the Torah, to be receiver. It's not enough for them to say the name of the sages, to be a partner. It's not enough for them to say it. They need to say Pesach, because we want to do the jump to reveal the powers of God Himself that we have inside us. This is the second idea that I said. The first idea that I said, it's about matzah and wine. Matzah, it's the bitul. That's why we're eating 3 matzah, and this is why matzah is very, very important. Because every Jew needs to strengthen his belief that there is a master, there is a balabos, as we're saying in Yiddish, there is a person that God is the creator and He's taking care of everything. But it's not enough. We also need to drink the wine. The mitzvah of the sages. We need to be part of it. We need to understand it. We need to feel it. We need to enjoy it, like wine. Not to stay in the matzah. One last thing that I would say, there is, I heard from Rabbi Sachs from England, a story that probably not true, but the message is true. I don't think he thinks it's true. I mean, it's a story that the story is good. That they asked one of the founders of the country of Israel, the state of Israel, I would say. He was asked why there is no statue of Moshe Rabbeinu in Israel, the first leader. And actually, it's a very good question. There is no statue. There is no street. Moshe Rabbeinu. There is no street. Maybe there is, but not. Why there is no place that we dedicating to the first leader of the Jewish people, the leader that took them out from being slave and brought them to the land of Israel? Why we don't have place dedicated to Moshe? What is the answer? So he said very good answer. The answer is that we didn't have a land for 2,000 years. We didn't have place that we dedicated to Moshe, never. And we remember Moshe. How we remember Moshe? If we didn't have the statue, it's so important to have a statue or streets to Moshe. How we remembered Moshe? Because we didn't dedicated place. We dedicate time to Moshe. And the time is Leila Seder. Pesach night, it's time that we're dedicating to remember not Moshe as a person, of course, also Moshe as a person, but where we are. Why we will build a statue of Moshe? Why? Because he's the first leader that took us out from Egypt. Gave us the Torah. This is why we have the night of the Seder. We don't need to go to central of the city to remember. And if you're going out of the city to vacation, to Pesach, you don't remember. That's why we have Pesach night. To remember ourselves and to tell it to the kids in the Torah, dedicating Pesach, the Seder night, to the next generation. That they will understand also, because this is the whole point. The whole point is that we dedicating time in the year to teach and to keep the message and to deliver it to the next generation. And this is the secret of the survival of the Jewish nation as a nation. So, we all need to eat matzah and to drink wine and to feel free, because this is the truth. We are free. All the limitations of the world are nothing, because we have the powers of the Master, that he controls everything. And if he did once Kriyat Yam Suf, he can do again. It will be a straight way from Estonia to the Dnieper, and from the Dnieper to Jerusalem. And this we need to know, even though we need to remember it and to know that we have in our side, God is in our side. This is freedom. L'chaim, l'chaim. Thank you very much.